Before the show starts, again, just like to say a big thank you to the sponsors: Air Canada Cargo, ATC Aviation, Bombelli, Cool Dolly and Cool Storage Solution, Etihad Cargo, and Sarco Airport Equipment. Thank you all so much. Ladies and gentlemen, friends, colleagues, and listeners, here we are again, another session of the Pharma Digital event. And I am so pleased to have two gentlemen on now who I love to listen to, I love to talk with, and I'm always learning from. So I'm going to introduce them now. So firstly, we've got Stavros Evangelakakis, which is always a mouthful. So I do apologize, Stavros, but Stavros is the chairman of the Cool Chain Association. So welcome on board, Stavros.
Thank you.
And we've also got Nicola Caristo, who's the Secretary General of the Cool Chain Association and is also a member of the IATA Time and Temperature Working Group. So Nicola, thank you so much for coming on board. The pair of you, honestly, I'm really pleased to have you both together. I'm going to enjoy this next 40, 50 minutes or so. Hopefully everybody else will as well. So before we start, can I just ask you, Stavros and Nicola, just give me a little bit of information about, you know, why you wanted to be part of the Cool Chain Association, what it means to you, and what has been the impact of the last 6 to 9 months. So we'll start with you, Nicola.
Okay, thank you, Chris, and thank you for having us. Yes, I believe that CCA, let's say, we built this association. We continue to run this association because it's a very particular one. As you possibly know, we take care not only of pharma, but even of perishable, representing the air cargo supply chain with our members, basically airlines, freight forwarders, producers, so along the chain, and overall globally. I mean, we believe that, especially now, we will touch a lot of points. I think it's very important to connect the dots, to collaborate in this uncertainty moment. In several parts of the world, not only the parts that are very well organized, but even in the challenging area. So yes, this is a bit what I think that we will need to do with our members and even with the industry.
Okay, lovely. Thank you, sir. And Stavros?
Yeah, thank you first for having me in the show, and together with my colleague Nicola. Well, I mean, I joined the association right from the beginning. I think it was 2002. But in a nutshell, why I took the chairmanship was because I had the chairman before. He made us financial stable, even though we are a non-profit organization. We had, we had little money on the bank. But I took it over because I wanted to be part with the new board members we have, also to be part to make some changes in our industry. And being able to work for one airline where I'm working for, but in this case, being the chairman of the association representing the airfreight industry, it's so much different. It's so much nicer because you get the input from trucking companies, from ground handlers, from airports, from ground handling agents. And then if you as a person, you can influence and you can steer an association towards a step forward where we can do and change things. I think this is great. If I look back, just take the air cargo thermal cover from DuPont, which basically represented in our meeting in Berlin, and then all of a sudden overnight this air cargo thermal cover, how can I say, became famous. Or if I take the CIV, it was a gentleman from Marcel Fujiki who spoke to our conference and he said there is no standard in this industry, and IATA was there and he said, and I want you, IATA, to create a standard. And guess what? A bit later, CIV came across, and I think as a small association, we are very proud to be small, because if you're small, you can somehow move things much more. If you're getting bigger, it's becoming a bit more difficult. So that is the reason why I took this chairmanship, and I'm very happy for what we have achieved so far. And during the lockdown, to work together with IATA and sign a memorandum of understanding. I think this is a great achievement as a small association together with my fellow board members.
Yeah. Well, I remember when it first kicked off, I was talking to some people and I was saying, I wouldn't mind going along to that. And they said, what's that? And I said, they just started a CCA, and they have conferences. And he said, who wants to go regarding cargo charging adjustments? He said, what do you want to go for a CCA workshop for? But now it means something so different, and it's
Yes.
just a way of how things have changed. Now, Nicola, coming to the point that Stavros just made there, and collaboration at the moment is a word that's probably overused, even abused to a degree, but it's still a necessary word, and it's a necessary activity that we all have to get involved with. Now, Stavros just mentioned about the memorandum of understanding between yourselves and IATA. Do you just want to establish now or explain why that is so critical and so important at the moment?
Yeah, indeed, Chris, and you are absolutely right. I mean, collaboration, we possibly abused in the past about this word. We have to be, in my opinion, very practical. And again, mentioning again, even the Time and Temperature Task Force and IATA, I believe that we got already the tools as industry on the table. We got the CAV certification, so we got the checklist, we got all the elements to improve our process, but we need input for the industry. And this uncertainty moment, talking about what will happen in a while, but it's already happening with the COVID vaccine distribution and production, and that it's coming. We believe that we need really to coordinate and to facilitate, again, in a very practical way, this point. And this memorandum of understanding allow us as association to present the result of the project. In this case, we will talk in a while, our airport distribution change management metrics within the IATA task force. So allow the live animal and perishable board, for instance, to vote for it, maybe become a standard, but at least will be used and spread and shared within our industry. So this, in my opinion, this is a real practical collaboration, in order to talk about the practical point.
Yeah, okay, brilliant. Now, if you look at it now, everybody, it was all doom and gloom. And now, thank God, we've had 3 wonderful Mondays, motivational Mondays, where first of all, we had the announcement with Pfizer, and then people were talking about the extreme temperature ranges. Then we had Moderna, then we got Oxford and AstraZeneca. Obviously, there's Sinovac and Sputnik 5, and there's going to be, who knows, any number of 13 or maybe even more that are going to be there. So we went from a vaccine drought to a vaccine tsunami, and God bless the scientists for what they've produced. But now you've got people who are pleased, and now they're starting to question. There's been some press. There's been some, the Pharma.aero survey, where it was suggesting that the industry and the community and the supply chain would have extreme challenges or might not be ready. Now, Stavros, that might have been the momentum to make people get up and go, but it's the wrong picture.
I think when the news came out and people said that we are not capable of doing, I think I can only speak from our members, which are in our association, and of course translate this also obviously to the airfreight industry. I have to say that a lot of the members have actually started doing a lot of homework, whether it's on the ground handling agent level, whether it's on the airport level, whether it's on the tracking level, forwarders, airlines. It's not that they're all sitting back and say, okay, we don't have information, we'll wait. It's not true. You have read that task forces were created, scenarios were created. Yep. Us with our matrix, that's what we're actually taking it to the next point. We would like actually not only the big airports and maybe not only the big association who have ground handling agents and not only the big airlines, but also smaller airports, smaller airlines, create something information, what it's needed for the future to be done. So I think in a positive way, I think a lot of members within the airfreight industry, they are already doing a lot of things to support this vaccine tsunami, as you called it, and of course, we say that every newborn baby has its challenges, and this COVID-19 vaccines is a newborn baby. It will have challenges, but I think together, we can manage. I think we understood the message, and many within our industry took this challenge, and they started really not investing also financially, but really trying to see, how they can do it. And it's a little bit like with a virus. On a daily basis, we learn more. Yep. More and more. And then if you have task forces, within in a community. You can go back, you can meet this, you say, okay, this is now what will happen. The box is different, the temperature range is different. This is the scenario. We don't need 150 containers at one time. No, there will be no dry ice in the container. So you get to know, and then you put the scenario together. And I have to say, yeah, there will be challenges, but I think, we're not sitting back and doing nothing.
No, 100%. Now, Nicola, this issue now where, like last weekend, IATA produced their guidelines. You've now got your methodology. You're coming together. Some might question, well, why wasn't it all put together in the first place? But it's coming together now, and it makes a lot of sense. And yours is focusing on the matrix around change management and risk management. Can you just elaborate a little bit on why that's so important, especially now?
Yeah, Chris, this is exactly the point, even as Stavros said, and even the right momentum, and we have to do it. I mean, because the certification and the standard, of course, allow us to have a pictures and to be in control of the process on a standard level. True, you're right, of course, the risk management and the change management is part of the certification, even of the, technically speaking, of IATA civil certification, but there is a bit of freedom of the members of the airlines, the ground handlers, to develop his own tools, his own management in a way. And this was done in the past. So it's true, a lot of homework, as Stavros said, but now we have a challenge. Now we need, in a shorter time, we have to coordinate this. Because again, it's really a tsunami. So we have to manage in a while, because you imagine all the airlines, let's say, or the freight forwarders, they are in control of the process. Yes, true. But in a while, the airports and the ground handler mainly, they have to manage all this flow together in a while. And not only the COVID vaccine distribution, but even the actual traffic. So we have to guarantee to the market, to the industry, the proper management of the normal pharma and the normal vaccine, if I can say that, normal, plus the COVID. And this COVID vaccine, we got challenging, practical challenging. And we said already, we got the temperature range, we got the type of packaging, we got the forecast and the quantity, even the time frame, and all these aspects have to be analyzed respecting the every area. We identify 9 areas, like facilities, warehouse and ramp operation, the training, of course, because the procedure will change, the safety, because we have to manage this dry ice is even DGR, etc., etc.
Yes.
Security aspect, the counterfeit, the supplier management. It's even important because we have to be in control. So this is a bit the overall idea. So again, it's not to sharing and to share sensitive data, but it's a methodology.
Yep.
And we believe that we need it, especially in some lanes and in some airport and in some area.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. And I would go even further, but I'll come to that. I'll come to that shortly. But thanks for that, and also the reason why. Now, Stavros, I've always thought to myself, the way the dynamic and the, shall we say, the influencer role has changed within the business. Most people didn't really talk that much about airports, apart from stands. They didn't appear to be supporting cargo. They didn't recognise cargo. They were focusing on passengers and retail, etc. Now cargo is coming to the fore everywhere. But equally, airports, as sort of overseers or umbrellas of their own ecosystem, if they work to a certain set of standards and criteria and evaluation and capability, and they make sure that everybody that's part of that airport is part of like one marketing or one deliverable organization, surely that's a better way to go.
Yeah, of course it's a better way to go, because then at least, you have to know, if you're an airport, it's not enough to have only a runway, and it's not enough to have a warehouse, because you're handling various commodities. So I think, if you have a warehouse, you should have, for example, a temperature control facilities, one for perishables and one for pharma, and not mixing it together. I think this is, for example, one minor thing, but, can create a huge, how can I say, positivity in the world. And I think if moving forward, if this should be the minimum standards you as an airport need to have is not only RAM handling, it's not only the pushback, etc., etc. You need to have certain facilities to overcome, because you don't have only pharma, you don't have only perishables, you have cars, you have offsites, you have so many things. And I think certain standards definitely would help. Again, minimum standards to overcome this in the future. And I think already, I must admit, of course, I don't know, there are thousands of airports in this world. But if we take it, let's say in Europe and also in America and even Africa, people, the airports and ground handling agents who are really investing in their facilities. Of course, in some other airports in Europe, you have the airport facility management, as called it. They're taking care that they're building warehouses, they're building, but of course, with other airports in the world, you don't have this. Yep. So I think if they can see a standard like this coming forward, with the time to come, all the big airports, definitely will invest, and they're doing it already. And sometimes, as I said before, we have talks where you see that airports are coming and asking our association, can we ask you, shall we invest in a temperature control facility? Of course, you should invest in a temperature control facility, but not for the COVID-19 vaccines, but moving forward in the future, because if you don't have it, maybe nobody is asking, but if you have it, people will come to you and they will use you. That's for sure.
Yeah, 100%. Now, talking about standards and practices, Nicola, some of the people that we've been speaking with, and to be fair, they're all of the same opinion. And we're talking about GDP and CEIV. Now, everybody was fully aware of the good distribution practices and the principles, etc. And then they also agreed that what CEIV has done is it's added that common language and awareness to the industry. And I can remember when it first came out, and I'm sure lots of other people were the same, they were thinking, my God, this is more cost, and are you ever going to get a return on investment, etc. But it's proven now that it's good for the community, it's good for the industry, it's good for the specialization and the compliance. Have you got any points you'd like to add or endorse with regards to the CEIV GDP relationship?
Absolutely. So, Chris, you're touching here a point that I really care about. This point, you know that I was in charge since from the beginning to develop the CEV standard into the Italian market of the ground handlers. So for me, it's even a passion in a way, but because I believe in it. And I think that now it's not only me, I mean, the industry, because it's proven, you are right, in terms even of sustainability, even economical wise, because it's certification for me is not simply because we got the lovely stamp on our web page or whatever, but really operational wise, even you are in control of your process. You even to touch a very important point, you speak the same language of your supplier along the chain. You can, and again, this is a reason why, just to connect the dot, we develop and we decided to produce this kind of methodology for the change management. Because if you apply the change management in a way, and I applied in another way, if you got your process, your SOP, your lane validation in a way, we got it in another way, it will be complicated even to talk together. And even, I'm a very positive person, and I believe that even this kind of certification allow us to talk together on a practical way. So to go paperless, for instance, to change data, to change KPI, to analyze the CAPA, so the regularity management. That means even be in control, so have less maybe complaints. So yeah, I really believe that we are good now, in especially because it's life. Of course, certain airports, certain area are very good on this, and we can go further, absolutely, because there is a need. Of course, again, we have to remember that there is a passion, and now we got this vaccine, so a lot of hope, even so. And we can do it in a proper way.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that's a common tag or banner. We help handle and deliver hope.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think that's important. Now, if you just look at the standards, and then you also look at some parts of the business. So even, let's forget, if we can for a moment, let's forget COVID. But if you look at some parts of the business, they're very procurement driven and cost driven. Now, if we've got GDP, we've got CEIV, we've got the IATA guidelines, we've got your methodology, and again, that's just me. I might be a little bit prehistoric and an old dinosaur, but I just think if it's that clear, then if there's a commodity, people should be told, this is how you deal with it. This is how you handle it with it. This is what you must do. End of story. No freedom. So that we then don't end up with GHAs, with carriers, with undeclareds, special cargo, because of the cost, etc. It's wrong. Now, either of you would.
Quality is definitely the word here. I mean, if you have, it's before you said CIV GDP. Yes, I agree with Nicola also. CIV and GDP should not be just a certificate you have in your office. You need to translate your passion this also to the people who have to do the job. You need to have training. You have to explain to them, listen, these are life-saving vaccines. They have to be stored at 2 to 8. You can't leave them in a tarmac. If maybe nobody tells them, they will maybe leave it in the tarmac. I'm not saying it's been done all the time, but I think that this is I think what is very, very important. And I think to emphasize on this, sometimes I say if you take the safety of the aircraft, right? If you have an offsite shipment and these are the limitations, exactly, no, I cannot put it in the front. No, I cannot put it in the back. No, I have to put it in the middle. Why? Because it's the safety of the aircraft. If we have tried to put in our minds this, or if we can achieve an opportunity to think the same way, okay, they will, if you load the vaccines or if you load the pharmaceuticals or perishables, may be wrong, the aircraft will not have a problem. But I think if we take the same methodology, like the safety of the aircraft, to handle the same type of perishables or pharma the same way, then I think we are already on the right way. And that's how I think we should moving forward. And the people who I always expect, the people who say I'm CIV, I have GDP, I have training, then I expect these people to really translate this to everyone. Not only just to say it. I think that's my personal opinion as a chairman of the CCA. If you really want to be good, you have to translate this passion from the top all the way down.
Yeah.
And if I may add something very quickly to this point, Chris, because you mentioned before about words, about collaboration or partnership. For me, and even now we are talking about even relationship. Now you ask me about the commercial relationship. Another key word is transparency and visibility. I believe that we are ready, even as industry, to be really transparent. And I mean, because it's a risk assessment. Is a bit to promise what we can do in a way. So this is something even important, to be reliable and transparent along the chain and even during the commercial relationship. Because you know what, especially these products, at the end of the day, now they are under control 100%. So we got the data logger there. We are in control of the process. There is a patient at the end of the day of the chain. So even this for me is a very positive big thing, because we are working like this. We are starting to work. I can see it. It's not always easy, of course, but it's the only way to do it.
Yeah, and you've just reminded me of something there, Nicola. Where if you look at the various decades, and unfortunately, I hope somebody out there says, but you don't look it, Chris. But I think I've been in the industry longer than the pair of you. But if you look at the various decades, we had the TQM, the quality. When first BS 5750 and ISO started coming, everybody was talking about quality. Do what you say what you do, and make sure it's written down. And then people were fed up with the paperwork. Then you had the cost decade, where everything was save costs, cut costs, reduce costs. Everybody, that's all they were interested. Then you had your controls and getting involved, just in time and just enough and spreading out, and now you've got sustainability. I think the one that you've touched on, and possibly and hopefully the one that people will remember all of us for in future generations, should be a care culture. Yeah. And if people really care what they're doing, and I know everybody would say, of course I care, but I think what this damn pandemic has taught us is, no matter who you are, no matter what you've done, no matter what you're doing, it can hit you. And if it doesn't hit you, the repercussions of it can hit you. You can lose your job for no reason. You haven't done anything wrong. You can lose your business because certain just just oxygen lines have been cut off from your business because people can't come and be served by you. You can be affected so much. So hopefully, please God and touch wood, one of the things that's going to happen is that there's going to be a care culture. Now, if that happens, that gives us a great opportunity. Nicola, what, you know, is that along?
I agree 100% with you. You touch a very important point, even honestly speaking, personal wise. And I mean, I don't want to be too much philosophic discussion here, but really sometimes everything happens for a reason, in my opinion, and we can learn every day in our life. And I think that if you want to talk about us as industry now, it's a very challenging moment, especially for the airlines with the capability drops. The we cannot travel anymore, or not like in the past. We have to review a bit our business model.
Yeah.
So really, it's a very big moment of change, and as always, you know, the change means even opportunity, and I think that we are ready now. We got the experience. You listed properly all the steps of what happened even in the past. So really, we got the tools, in my opinion, both the practical and even a bit the philosophical tool in a way. The collaboration, the partnership are there. Maybe in several places in a bit of different way. Care. A lot of airports care about this. A lot of even the government, even the association, the partnership. So really, I mean, closing the circle, just from my side, I mean, when you said, okay, collaboration, of course, we use it a lot, this word in the past. But now, hopefully, it's the moment, it's the perfect momentum to do it in a practical way. Yeah. I'm super positive on this.
Good man, 100%. Now, Stavros, airports, okay, and the capacity overview. So you were talking earlier about somebody having an overview and a you know, a viewpoint or an umbrella look down at what the capability is. The reason I'm saying that is because if you look at the PPE and the disrupted schedules, you had GHAs that one day they had no flights expected. Next day, they got 3 or 4 coming in at the same time. You've got then, you know, problems with the warehouse handling. You've got people complaining that they can't clear their goods. We had all of those disruptive issues because of the urgency and the pressures that were being put on everybody. Now, we don't want that to happen again. So from looking at an airport community and coming down to the methodology, the change and the risk, something has to be done whereby everybody can account for what the capacity and the capability, even though we all know it happens at the moment, but it's got to have that extra emphasis moving forward.
Well, I mean, yes, I mean, valid point. And of course, I cannot speak for all the airports in the world. I can only see from our association, this famous change management matrix we are talking about. That's basically it, you know, to create some sort of a minimum standard and say, okay, you know, this is what you have to do. And I think, in all fairness, many airports have realized this. You know, it was actually great what happened during the PPE, because we have seen maybe our bottlenecks and we have seen our things to move forward. And a lot of airports learned, and a lot of ground handling and airports, I can read it all over again. They said, well, we learned from it, and we don't want this to happen again in the near future. So I think moving forward, it is very, very important that somehow we need to have a standardization, and we need to create this awareness to say what is minimum needed to handle these goods. And of course, you're right. When did we face a situation that overnight we had, as per IATA, 3.4 million flights cancelled? Yeah. We didn't have this situation. And I think it's also very human. Then all of a sudden you're sitting there and you say, well, you know, there is no aircraft coming in. Some airports, people didn't come in because they were afraid to catch the virus. So of course you're stuck all of a sudden with situations which you didn't face before, and you had to improvise a lot to overcome all these challenges. And I believe a lot of airports have learned from it. And I am also a positive person, and I cannot believe that, you know, we have done this now. We passed the PPA. Okay, let's wait for the next wave without doing anything. I think airports actually even talking to each other, how they can contribute and they can do things better in the future. That is for sure.
Yeah, and it's good. We've had some podcasts and some other digital events where you've got airports. It's a little bit like when you're driving on holiday and you come to a new town and you see that it's twinned with somewhere in Ireland or France or Belgium or Italy, and now you've got airports interacting and twinning up and teaming up and learning up. It's a great sign. It's a really positive sign.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, Nicola, coming now to the big picture. Okay, so imagine there's somebody sitting there. It could be any one of the 13 producers that are thinking, right, we and our scientists, we've achieved the unbelievable, and we've done it in a much quicker time than anybody could expect. So now, logically, and just a simple man I am, I'm thinking to myself, they're sitting there thinking, right, now we've got it, we can produce it, and now it's ready for distribution. Now I'd be expecting our industry to tell me exactly how we're going to do it, not just to the obvious points, but to the farthest area, because at the end of the day, we're all only safe when we're all safe. So that would include everybody. It include last milers. It will include producers, facilities, people who are producing, special temperature controlled equipment to make the transfer from the aircraft to the facilities in extreme, climatic conditions better. It would include everybody. And what people don't also understand is that even with dry ice, even with the additional special training that's required, there's an awful lot of effort now that has to go into it to make sure that everybody plays their part, because we cannot afford any spoilage and we cannot afford any negative media coverage to make people worried or concerned. And even with talking to people about would you or wouldn't you take the vaccine if it was available tomorrow, people need to know that it's controlled, it's well looked after, and it's going to be effective. So from your perspective, with regards to that training area, how do you see that panning out? Do you see that there should be any special focus?
Yeah, let's say it's exactly like that. I mean, for me, there is no other possibilities. It's already there to have this lane risk assessment and lane risk management, because it's exactly like that. It's not black and white. So from point A, from point B, of course, the producer, they want to be in control, and we have to be in control because, again, of the patient, of the product.
Yep.
And the point is that if all the stakeholders along the chain are capable to really share in a collaborated and transparent way their own SOP, their own project, their own process, their own even challenging, because just to be again very practical, you touch a bit the point. For instance, the training is something that have to be managed. We are even in a challenging moment for the staff. We know that. So we as industry, maybe let's see what will happen, because again, even to this point is not black and white, because depending about the packaging solution, not all that we are discussing now, and even maybe we will have a combination of packaging and so on. So this could be a point that have to be defined along the chain, along the lane. The facility that Stavros mentioned before, maybe some airports, a destination, because the vaccine have to go everywhere. Then we not have, a proper facility, a proper storage. We cannot do it. Of course we can. If we work on process and we put even, maybe we can create maybe a corridor, a pharma corridor with a custom. So there are, in my opinion, and this is what it really is amazing, in my opinion. And again, it's practical collaboration. We can always have a solution. The point is why, not how you do things, but even why you want to do things, because we want to connect the 2 points and we want to distribute the vaccine everywhere.
Yep.
So work on lanes. So long story short, I think that we have to put the stakeholders along the lanes together, sharing the information, find the lane SOP, be in control of it, and find a solution even in the places where ideally maybe the standard procedure will not work.
Correct. Yeah.
This is, in my opinion, and again, and we can do it, and we are even within our association, we are having this kind of of discussion because
Discussions.
airline discussions. Yes, because of course, correct. The airlines are going even touching even challenging area and airports.
Yeah, I think, yeah, 100%. Now, the fact that you mentioned earlier about a small organization, you know, getting together with a big organization, but you're such a specialist group. The talent that I've seen in some of the conferences and the content, you know, it's so valid, it's so credible, and it's so very, very professional. It's fantastic. Now, something, Stavros, you said earlier, you know, about the future. At this moment in time, we have to act fast. We have to learn even faster, but
Yes.
most importantly, we have to understand why, and not be focusing too much on what happened or didn't happen in the past, and not focusing too much on what can maybe happen in the future, but what we can do right now. And I know a lot of people, whether you look at the politicians on TV, nobody would want to step into their jobs and responsibilities at the moment.
No.
They're damned if they do, they're damned if they don't. They have to balance the economy with the safety, with people who want to comply, those that don't. It's a terrible thing. And it's a little bit the same, dare I say, and some of the people that I've been with, they probably think someone's hit me over the head. But also IATA, you know, CCA, TIACA, you know, all these regulatory and representative bodies, okay, they do a great job. And if it wasn't for them, irrespective of whether they're seen as a tanker or a speedboat, if it wasn't for them, everything would be so much more difficult. So as far as that's concerned, your you know, your input, your confidence in what you're doing, how would you close that off with regards to the way, and Nicola's used the word several times and referred to what we were saying earlier about collaboration. How confident and pleased are you that things are coming together and everybody is starting to dovetail? Because each one of those organizations is also downsizing and having to respond to the practical sizing of the industry. So, you know, how pleased are you with the way things are going?
To be honest with you, when the lockdown first time came, our association had, you know, how can I say, quite a few headaches. You know, how do we move forward? What are we going to do? Because we cannot meet each other. But with what we have achieved right now as a small association, I'm very confident, because by being very specific with your contact, what you stand for as an association, by show interest content and interest speakers, you create awareness, you create curiosity, and we have seen this also using the social media like LinkedIn, where we make quotes, we make statements. We never thought before about this. This is also came to our association. There are people who are interested in an association, and you have people who are interested in my association. That gives me the confidence that what we are doing as a small association is on the right track. Because if we would have done all these things, and there would be no one who's coming to us and say, hey, we would like to know more about your association, how we can come together, how we can enter in, then I would have said, okay, we're doing something wrong. But it is exactly the opposite. We have after the first time we have been together with an IATA webinar, a lot of interest. After our social media examples, we have seen a lot of interest. So people show interest in us because they see we are doing something. It's not an easy step. It's not an easy step. And you can ask also Nicola, when we have our board members meeting, I always ask them, guys, we have said now we're going to do this and this and this. Now we have to deliver. It's not only the marketing bit. Now we have to deliver. And if we don't deliver that, then our path is going to go up, and it's going to go down as well because we don't deliver. So to answer your question, I'm confident because I see the interest. And in order to maintain this interest, we need content. We need you know, a small group, and we need to have examples to show the world that it's doable. Without this, I don't think it will happen. But I think I'm confident on that people basically show interest, and I think this is very important. And also in big companies, it's not the whole company who's going to show interest. It's quite often certain individuals within a company who show interest, and then these individuals can go back to their company and show what is doable.
Yeah, and then they become enablers and the voice of logic and reason and consistency. Yeah,
exactly.
Now, Nicola, I've heard you speak. I've spoken to you many times, so you know your passion and your commitment and your engagement is obvious. But what we were talking about earlier about going through different sort of orbits of activity, whether it's TQM, cost, etc. But I think, I think this care culture is so important now. It's so important to get the displaced colleagues back to work in as quick a time as possible. So the scientists have done their job, you know, once everybody else now starts taking the vaccines and opens up everything, you know, it's the job now to get all of these people back, because the one thing about our industry is everybody is so well trained, it's so well regulated, that people just become, I think they don't even realize sometimes how good they are. And we've got to make sure that we get as many of those people back as possible. So, you know, that culture is something that I know you guys are going to keep pushing as well.
Well, yeah.
It's absolutely like that. You know, Chris, just to close this, what is very, what is happening now and never happened in the past. We faced even as industry, but even as, as society, in my opinion, a lot of other challenge, but it was maybe a local one, no? For instance, now we are really in an empathic way, even. We are all on the same line, because this kind of challenge is overall, so it's a global challenge. It's not like maybe Ebola that was only in Africa, or maybe some economical crisis only, I don't know, in the States or China or whatever. So we all want to go further, and so this is even, so again, we are speaking the same language. We are taking care of our company, family, something like that. So we got the tools, we got the opportunity to talk, we had the opportunity to define something together. We want the same thing. So really, it's really hope in a very practical way.
Yeah, no, you're right. And you just gave me another idea there for another acronym of care. COVID allowed real empathy. So hopefully when back, that's what they're going to say, you know.
It's like that, because, you know, in the past, you know, when it's even, because it's even human, if you not feel what is happening, because maybe it's something, every day something was happened worldwide, no? But you cannot feel it, because it's not part of your life. It's happening somewhere else. It's always someone else and somewhere else. Now it's not the case. And I really believe that it's the very first time.
Yeah.
Because, and moreover, you know what? And even we can even feel it, because now, respecting the last century, we are connected. So we are talking with our friends and colleagues worldwide. So we are facing the same problem. We are feeling like the same challenges. So really, so this is bad, but it's even a positive thing, because of course we can improve and we can go further. We can really, again, collaborate, but in a real way.
Yeah, no, 100% well put. Now, not to be negative, but to be realistic. Mm-hmm. What's your opinion now with regard to obviously some of the challenges that are going to come up? You spoke about, you know, having special corridors and fast track customs clearance, and, you know, please God, less paperwork, more digitization, and everything else that's necessary. But counterfeit. So if you look at all the PPE that's still stacked up in shipping containers and warehouses that didn't meet the standards, that was counterfeit, you know, I mean, it's a terrible thing to have to contend with when we've got a global pandemic. But there are people out there that will be producing substandard pieces of equipment and possibly even counterfeit vaccine. It won't be the first time. You know, that's a terrible thing, huh?
Yeah.
It's a terrible thing, and I'm not even an expert on this. You know, how you can avoid it, and what can you do with it? But yeah, I'm afraid counterfeit will happen.
Yeah,
one way or the other. And I think and this is my how can I say, my question to the big shipper companies. You know how they also ensure that the goods which we're going to get in our body are also the right ones. And I know there are many shippers who are working on all kinds. They have a, how can I say, a complete, again, I'm not an expert, But sometimes when I read, I have the complete chain. They can tell you exactly where this vial was produced, where it has left the hands, when they're coming. And even when it comes to the pharmacy, they can scan it and say, okay, oh yeah, that's green. That means this is okay. I think, and I hope that will happen also for COVID-19 vaccines. Of course, yes.
If I may...
the human mind is like this. Some people will see an opportunity how to make money, and I hope maybe the humankind will come out and they should realize, make maybe other counterfeit shoes, but don't try to make counterfeit vaccines, because at the end it's just for human body.
But even just to very quickly to add on a technical way, even here, Chris, Stavros, I mean, we are not powerless. We got tools even here. We as industry, we are super good in airport, let's say, or security in a way. So bomb alarm, threat, something like that. We got again the AAO certification. So I'm talking about the custom security. And last but not least, we got, for instance, there is the TAPA. So TAPA certification. So the asset protection tool. So again, you see, even on this aspect of security, in a three aspects, so asset protection, airports, and custom, we got tools. So at least we can speak the same language. Again and again. So there is a problem, we can collaborate together, we can use the right way, we can put all these requirements in a practical way within our lane SOP, without our contract, without our relationship, and we can be in control, not only in control of because of the temperature excursions, but even in control of the process because of the threats, the counterfeit, or the bad guys that want, of course, to as Stavros said, they saw an opportunity there in order to make money or whatever. It's a supplementary challenge, but we are not powerless. We can do it.
Which is why risk assessment, internal audit, self-assessment, validation, verification, all those things need to be part of the DNA of all senior managers, and not, as it might have been, or as it could be suggested it was, whereby everybody is just pushing for margin, for growth, for revenue. Sometimes it's the things that you don't think about are the things that can absolutely ruin you as a business or an industry. And this one has had such an impact on so many industries. If only people had have thought of things earlier. And, please God, we'll never have that hindsight again. And how terrible everything has happened in a bloody year that is 2020. So whether it's hindsight, whether it's vision, whatever it is, it's almost like an ironic kick in the pants to humanity.
Every 100 years.
That it happened this damn year.
Yes, 2020.
Right, gents, we're almost at the end of the session. What I'd just like to ask as a little sort of a farewell statement, what would you love to see happen ongoing after we address a successful distribution of vaccines within the industry?
Oh, that's a difficult one. I would like to see if we can overcome this challenge. And again, time is something which we don't even know. We don't even know if it's going to be 3 months, 6 months, 2 years, or 3 years. I'm more likely to say it's going to be on a longer term. To learn from it, and to really not have buzzword anymore, collaboration, but actually do collaboration. And I'm not talking on any commercial aspects. I mean, being honest, every sector, to be honest, what can I deliver and what I cannot deliver. And if I want to deliver, what do I have to do? If we can overcome this, then I think it's going to be great. I know I'm a dreamer. That's also my Instagram account, still a dreamer. But I believe that if we can work together and see how it can be done and see the success, that we really work on this and do things better moving forward. And well, from now, what we learn now and moving forward, because already now we know exactly what we can and again not do. So if we are honest and if we work together and if we really love what we are doing, then I think it's going to come. It's like anything else, you know, if you're a super sportler, whatever, you're competitive, but at the end you love what you're doing. And that's why you go out, you sweat, you try to be better. You know, we only see the success of someone. The success of something is the belief in something. If I don't have belief, I will never have success. So if we can get that, then I think this would be my dream.
Very good. And Nicola?
Yeah, even, I mean, we are more or less in line. Of course, we are with Stavros. I mean, even for me, it's the mindset. I think that what I would like to see is really a lesson learned. I mean, we are managing this. We have to do it in a practical way. Yes, we can do it. But again, to changing a bit our mindset, and I can see a lot of positive things that are happening already. Again, to share information in a transparent way, to work together, to find a solution, not only because, and you touched the point. Yeah, I think that this is the key word. So because we care. It's not only because of the control of the quality of the procurement. Fine, we got already these tools. We are able to do it. We prove that we can do it like this.
Yeah.
But now it's important why we have to do this, and in a way that we have to interact each other with a different mindset. Because at the end of the day, we are together really, even in the past, but maybe, you know what, even another word is awareness.
Yeah.
I think that we are, all of us, a little bit more aware of why we have to do things in a way and not maybe like in the past. So really, these as soon as all this story will finish, and hopefully we'll be able to act in a bit with more freedom, and at least just to see about the past or what happened and say, okay, now we got something different.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think what you both touched on there about, you know, not so much being honest, but being realistic. And sometimes our industry and some of the players in the industry are more prone to do it than others, but they always say yes. Always say yes. Always say yes. And sometimes, you know, it's important to say no because it's going to have a better outcome. And I remember growing up, I always used to push the boundaries a little bit, and I always thought just do it because it's easier to apologize than ask if you can. But now I think it's so important that, you know, key parts of the business, they look at what's happening, and irrespective of the potential gain, if it can't be done and it can't be done well and it can't be done consistently, say no. So that when we do things, we do it the right way for the right reasons at the right time.
100%.
Correct.
Gents, thank you so much. I love talking to the pair of you. And if I get an opportunity to attend one of your conferences next time, and please God, I will be there in an instant. And yeah, I'll be there in an instant. And I think all of us, especially the two of you, everybody that's doing everything that they possibly can, frontline, whether it's our industry or not, great respect, fantastic, and please stay safe and well. And for anybody that's been displaced from their job, hopefully there'll be a warm welcome back sooner than anybody thinks. And anybody who's lost any loved ones or whatever, you know, obviously sympathy goes out, and it's such a terrible thing. Together, everybody will do things better. So thanks, guys. Really appreciate it.
Thanks a lot. Stay healthy and see you soon.
Yeah.
Take care.
Cheers, lads.
Ciao, ciao. Thank you. Bye.